done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
You know, it took a lot of effort, but the side quests, a lot of them were actually quite interesting, and exploring the map was fun, but, you know, I certainly don't ever want to have to do this again. The Renown grind, it wears, doesn't it? Oh, but, you know, it's over. Right? It is over. It is. Why is there dramatic music playing? Oh yes, my fellow dwellers of Diablo. How are you doing this fine day? I wanted to take an opportunity to sit and have a little chat, discussion / warning, because I want as many voices to be unanimous, loud, and therefore heard on the Blizzard side of things when it comes to this very big, very game-making or breaking topic when it comes to Season 1 of Diablo. Though before we properly get into this, let's swap the war with hell for a different kind of battlefield. War. War never changes. Unless it's Warhaven, who very kindly have sponsored today's video by making one hell of an evolution. That poor man. On the classic stab 'em up in a team medievally battle with an infusion of magic that says who the hell needs guns, blades are more fun. And you know what, I couldn't agree more. I am a sucker for these types of experiences, and this one looks phenomenal. And on top of being just very pretty, it's got an easily pick-upable combat system that also offers that depth if you really want to get into it and become an unstoppable god of the battlefield, which by the way is also something you can literally become, and essentially it boils down to 16 versus 16 PvP. You can go solo and carry the day, or work with your friends as a little battalion, and in either case have an absolute blast. If you like the look of this, a link down below is there. Wishlist it now on Steam, and you can play free during Steam Next Fest on June 19th to June 26th. It really is awesome, and better than everything that I just said, it's free to play. It really is this cool hybrid of medieval with some modern fantasy, and I for one can't wait to get stuck in. For now then, back to the video. Oh yes. First and foremost, what do we know about Season 1? I mean, mainly that they're aiming for it to be about mid to late July, and then of course the Battle Pass will start, the first one that comes with the version of the game that got you early access, but that's a whole other can of worms that isn't for now. There is the season journey chapters, which you'll be able to complete as the season goes along, which will give you crafting materials and legendary aspects, and that will form a extra form of progression, and then past that there's the kind of usual seasonal conventions that we could expect. We're going to get the full details in an eventual developer stream as we get closer and closer to it being a thing, but until then there is certain kind of concerns that if they're not changed or addressed, I think are really going to, well, shoot the season in the foot before it can even start running. And chief amongst them is Renown. Renown. Because as it currently stands, the only thing that they have confirmed will carry on is the stats from Lilith statues. So that's kind of nice, I suppose, but the implication of that is that every season we are going to have to do two major things. Number one, re-explore the entire map. Go into every little nook and cranny to get that 5 renown, to have it revealed so that the map's actually nice and useful to look at as we go about our Diabloing. The second and much more concerning thing is that means every season you will have to re-grind the paragon points from Renown, all 20 of them, which is a huge power boost, especially without your level going up, and let's be honest, is essentially required on any character you're taking seriously and pushing endgame with. And it takes hours and hours and hours to go through the strongholds, to go through the side quests, and ironically, even with the stats and paragon points from Lilith statues continuing over onto other characters onto Season 1, you're still probably going to collect the Lilith statues because you'll want the Renown from doing so in order to get the paragon points from Renown. So you don't really have to not get them because they're very efficient. So this, to me, is a real kind of deflating bit of information. But not all is lost, because we are getting very soon a new, what they are calling, campfire with the devs. And it seems they are at least going to address Renown. But that's literally, essentially all they've said. We will talk about Renown feedback. And that kind of worries me that it's not inherently too positive. It's very nebulous, and I kind of am worried that they're going to sort of explain why it's actually a good thing to spend like 20 hours grinding side quests you've already done once on each character every season. And I really don't want that to be the case, and I have to hope that it's not going to be. Because I don't know about you guys, but on a personal level, if every new season I have to redo all the Renown for Paragon points, one of two things is going to happen. Number one, I'm just not going to do it because it's just, I'm not going to do it. I'd find watching a painting of grass growing drying a more engaging experience. With the caveat that I alluded to at the start, which, yes, I did enjoy doing it the first time. I did. I found it satisfying, like, busy work, and I did like a few of the side quests. I found them quite compelling. But that only happens once. And then the second thing is, eventually, it's just going to sour you to the point that you kind of don't want to participate in seasons, because you're left being either weaker than everyone who does do the grind, or being forced to do this Renown grind that you really don't want to do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but open question to you all, hands up, who is okay or even excited about the prospect of getting full Renown in every region every season to have your Paragon points? I'm assuming is what the room you're all in my head as I talk to you in this video looks like, because it's not the most, well, nice prospect. So, hopefully, we actually get this somewhat addressed, and yes, they're going to address dungeons as well, in that endless cycle conveyor belt of nerfs. There does seem to be a need for a few fundamental mechanical changes, and chiefly to me, it's just make Nightmare Dungeons more rewarding, and a lot of problems go away. Though that's kind of sidetracking from what the true purpose of this little talk is. Essentially, I'm just worried about the seasons, and specifically how Renown will make all of them get off to a less exciting start than I think we were all hoping for. And I would love you all to, you know, as I said, make your voices heard when it comes to that, and actually make it known that no, we'd probably rather not have to redo Renown every single time we have a new season. I do think, however, there should be a reason to do Renown each season, a reward for doing so if you optionally choose to do it, maybe a cool cosmetic mount or some sort of neat-to-have, look-at-me item that isn't essential to character power, but will give you that sense of accomplishment if you go out and do it, or if you're just absolutely in love with the side quests and do want to do them all a few more times. But I think when we get round to seasons, we all inherently just want to get into the game, get to Torment as quickly as possible, and start grinding up the power of your character, doing the new builds, and having fun exploring everything again in the same manner that we ended up having with Diablo 3 once a lot of the problems with that game, and there was a lot of them, were eventually sorted out through its life cycle. I really enjoyed the seasons of Diablo 3 towards the end, and I have fond memories of them, and I would love to have fond memories of Diablo 4 seasons, this time ideally from Season 1, as much as that might be a ambitious thing to ask. So I would love to know your thoughts on this. Did you even know that as it currently stands, you are going to have to ground Renown every season if you want your paragon points? And if you did know, or at least now you do know, what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about it? Is it make or break for you? Is it something that you'll do even if it's not like the most fun activity? Or is it something that if they don't make changes to, which hopefully they're alluding they very well might, you're just not going to engage with that? Or hell, it even turns you off a little bit from playing in the first place if that's going to be a constant barrier. I mean, even just aesthetically, as I mentioned earlier, just not seeing the map revealed, it's just kind of a downer, isn't it? All of these little blank patches where you've not technically walked over again, and there's some really obscure little areas that you really have to travel to have open up, and it's just really satisfying having a full map, and I think that is one I would really appreciate not having to redo. So of course, we will be with you to go over everything they tell us at this initial campfire, what they're going to do with Renown, what they're going to do with dungeons, the changes we can expect, and everything else, of course, as we head towards Season 1, and how that will actually shake out. For now, though, I would love to know how you're getting on in Diablo, what stage you're at, what level, what world tier, what are you working on? Are you finding it still supremely satisfying and compelling, or are you starting to feel a little bit of fatigue in regards to what you're doing, and is that perhaps tied to your playtime or tied to the game itself? I think that's a quite fun little discussion to have, and I would love very much to have it. For now then, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.